So I stayed the night in Hamilton, then went south the next day. Before getting to National Park, I thought it was a good idea to stop in Te Kuiti and have a look at the old NZR era station. This town is notable for being the home of the late Sir Colin Meads, a former All Blacks rugby player who passed away in 2017. This statue of Colin is proudly displayed right between the main street and the railway station. In spite of me not being all that familiar with the town, Te Kuiti has always been a special place to me, as my family has always gone through here on our trips to New Plymouth. In fact, that crossing at the southern end of the yard is pretty much the starting point of the long and meandering route down to Taranaki. Turning round to face the north, we see a brand new footbridge and the older turntable. These days it's only used by locomotives on excursion trains, and not on a regular basis anymore. Not too far south of Te Kuiti, there's this rather imposing viaduct whose name I don't remember. Our next stop on this adventure, if you could even call it an adventure, was Taumarunui Station. This was once a very busy scene, complete with an engine shed and passenger trains calling here on their way to Auckland, Wellington or New Plymouth. Not too far north of the town is a place called Okahukura, where the line to Stratford branches off from the main trunk. Sadly, the SOL has been mothballed since 2009. These days, the station in Taumarunui is a very desolate place, with the old yard only being used to store ex-Auckland SA and SD coaches, which are actually very heavily rebuilt ex-British Rail Mark II stock. And this is the old Bay platform, which once served the passenger trains to New Plymouth. Aside from its railway history, and amongst other things, Taumarunui is also known for being the hometown of the late Mark Hunter and his brother Todd, who were founding members of the band Dragon. The railway station is also the subject of a classic 1950s song called Taumarunui on the Main Trunk Line. Just before midday, we made it to National Park Station. This was a calling point for the Northern Explorer passenger train, but that hasn't run since August 2021. The only trains that still stop here are freight and excursion services, and the only reason freighters stop here is to change drivers. Speaking of which, that's exactly what happened on this rather hot Sunday afternoon. The first train to turn up was the northbound 240, with DLs 9469, 9498, and 9256 on the point. The 9256 was being towed dead. It wasn't long before train 247R showed up on its way to Wellington, complete with DLs 9164 and 9400 on the point. Then the ex-Hamilton crew took over 240, while the ex-Palmerston North driver took over 247R. Back in 2020, one of the drivers told me it was a time-honoured tradition to have crew changes at National Park, and I can see that that's still the case today. DLs 9164 and 9400 didn't hang around too much longer before they got moving again. Bizarrely, they had a former FM guards van at the back of their train. As for the ex-Hamilton crew, they went and got some lunch before returning to their engines. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this look at 2 stations and 2 trains on the North Island main trunk. I've decided to do a separate video about the Steam Incorporated excursion, as I think the DAs deserve a video all to themselves.